This week on Extracts, Board Genie, Space Weenie, Fuck Napoleon, and Mussolini.
It's the Treat Yourself episode. Part 2. Treat yourself, part 2?
Treat yourself harder.
Treat harder.
Treat harder. Yeah, it's that.
Leave it all in.
Welcome to Extracts, a podcast where we introduce each other to our fandoms one episode at a time. I'm your host, Erin Cline, an X-Files spooky bitch.
And I'm your other host, Stella Cheeks, a slut for Star Trek the original series. Each podcast, we pick 2 episodes that fit a cinematic theme, watch them together, and then record our feelings.
Our theme this week is Treat Yourself, part 2.
I thought we just decided it was Treat Harder.
Treat harder.
So I guess my Treat Yourself episodes are just William Campbell episodes. What can I say? I love that over-the-top weirdo. If you haven't guessed, we're watching the season 1 classic, and I do mean classic this time, the Squire of Gothos, a.k.a. How Does One Deal with a Problem Like Trelane, a.k.a. The Q Are Born. It's ridiculous fun, and while it's not strictly a comedy episode, it's a classic Trek episode with humor, witty banter, a petulant godlike being, and a ridiculous ploy to save the day by our beloved captain.
And for the X-Files this week, we're talking about the season 7 episode, Je Souhaite, right? I don't know French.
Je
Souhaite? Yes. Je Souhaite. You know, the one where Mulder finds a genie and then wipes everyone off the face of the planet. I find this episode delightful. And honestly, I think all the guest performances are super strong in this. And we get to see the delight Scully feels in thinking she's finally got some hard evidence of the supernatural. We didn't have a great category for this episode, so I figured, fuck it, why not? This one rules. And I feel like this is a good one to watch together, too.
Yeah,
so.
Weirdly, I was thinking that. I was like, oh, these fit together again.
Yes, totally. We're on the same page. We've watched enough of the other show together, too, that I think we're good at picking, this is a good, just enjoyable out-of-category one.
It's almost like we've been friends since
forever. For like 16 years.
Forever.
Weird. Anyway, are you ready? Are you ready for Dig It In There, Mr. Spock?
I am.
I must say, they make a perfectly exquisite display pair. But I suppose you want them back now.
And now for a not at all quick episode summary. Unproofread. The crew of the Enterprise is passing through a star desert on their way to a supply mission to Colony Beta 6. That's the Roman numeral. When they encounter a planet that shouldn't exist. Their sensors don't pick up on it, but they can see it with their eyes, so it's definitely there. Probably. But before they can confirm anything, Sulu disappears. And then the captain, gasp. Spock, in his infinite wisdom, is like, well, they're probably on that planet right there since there's literally nothing else around, it being a desert and all. Unfortunately, the sensor readings indicate that the planet is toxic as hell. His postulations are interrupted by an old-timey message in tattoo-style lettering saying, greetings and felicitations, hip hip hurrah, tally-ho, which immediately annoys Spock to the delight of Dr. McCoy. Scotty offers himself as a landing party member, but it's early season 1, so there is still rank and stuff, and Spock says, no, we're important, we have to stay here. But Bones and the world's most boring ensign and that geophysicist can get the fuck out. Mostly, I think Spock didn't want to wear those weird sleep apnea machines, which, fair. Thankfully, McCoy, DeSalle, and Yeager land in the little spot of fresh air on the planet so they can ditch the breathing machines and we never have to see them ever again, and explore the medieval castle. Yep, that's correct. They break in, because I guess castles don't have locks, and are surrounded by alien artifacts and old-timey Earth memorabilia. But good news, they find Kirk and Sulu. Bad news, they have been immobilized, and a man who introduces himself as General Trelane, retired, is there to greet them, and he's delighted that they are guests on his planet of Gothos. The crew are obviously not delighted, but Kirk and Sulu can move again, so that's something. Trelane shows the captain and his crew about the castle, waxing poetic about Earth culture and all their fun little wars, but he's off by about 900 years. How fallible of him. Kirk, of course, is bringing big don't fuck with me vibes to the table, but Squire Trelane, you see he's retired, so Squire is a nice title that he prefers. Yes, thank you. Really can't read the room. Relatable, because McCoy can't read Trelane on his medical device at all. Then the world's most boring ensign DeSalle tries to stun Trelane with a phaser, but he did it while standing in front of a mirror like a big dumb idiot. Trelane isn't mad, though. We're all friends here, and this phaser device is horrible and wonderful. Let us celebrate with a repast. But the crew's Resident party pooper Spock spoils the evening when he transports the crew back to the Enterprise. Squire foiled! Except, nope, he's still, a super magical being who can manipulate matter into other matter at will, so Def just pops onto the Enterprise and snatches the crew back. Plus Spock and some ladies for a little added spice. I hate that I wrote this sentence. Though the Spock spice tastes bad to Trelane. More for Kirk, I guess. Yeah, they're still flirting, even in front of this, despot or whatever. Anyways, Kirk is fed the fuck up, especially as Trelane tries to woo Uhura and Yeoman Teresa Ross. McCoy is fed up because the booze don't taste like booze, and what is even the point, damn it? Spock is still trying to, figure out the problem, notices that the host never strays away from the mirror, so naturally Kirk decides to shoot it with a gun. And it worked! The matter manipulation machine is broken. Squire foiled! The crew once again tried to escape, but can't because they are being hunted by the entire planet of Gothos. No, not like the people of Gothos. To quote Carl Urbones, the whole damn planet. Kirk is like, ugh, send me to that planet. I'm gonna slap some sense into this man, which he actually does, but not before a fun fake trial, complete with wigs. Trelane sentences Kirk to death, death, death. But Kirk is like, how about you release the Enterprise and hunt me dangerous game style, because that's more fun, right? Hanging is so blasé, very 900 years ago. There is much fighting and bantering, and aren't duels fun, and this game of hide and seek is great. Kirk wins because duh, but Trelane is being really petulant about it, almost like a child. Oh, that's because he is a child. And his glowy mommy and daddy come out and break up his game because he was just being a bully and he needs to learn how to treat his pets better. Kirk is returned to the ship where he flirts and teases with Spock, while Trelane is getting a cosmic timeout, probably. All is right in the world. Content space staring.
For a really long time.
Yeah. So how did that Spock spice taste to you, Erin?
This episode ruled.
Yeah.
This was delightful.
The joy on your face. I like this episode because it's silly and fun. But it's, I showed you all my favorite episodes already, right? For other things. And so this was oh, this doesn't fit anywhere else. It's a classic episode. Treat yourself as perfect. But boy, was this a treat for you. You were just delighted the whole time, which was great. And I'm glad that we watched things together.
It was so fun. It's everything. I don't remember the name of the episode. The forget one.
Requiem for Methuselah.
Yes, the delight that I felt during the first half of that was this. Only it was turned up to 45.
Yes,
Trelane, amazing. It did help that he reminds me a lot of someone we went to college with. A lot.
Yeah, the moment you said that, I was like, oh wow,
right?
Yes, that is this person in a great way. It's a positive.
Absolutely a compliment. 100% a compliment. But it was also every time he popped on the screen, I was just this is too, it's almost too on the nose.
You love a space fop.
I love a space fop. And this one, he appeared and I was like, who's holding them hostage? Liberace. Awesome.
Yeah, you said, who puts a mirror in front of their piano? Oh, Liberace. Yep, correct.
I found him delightful. I thought his interactions with everyone were interesting because there's no greater purpose. He's not hunting them like in the last episode that we watched where it's I want you to be my gladiatorial subject or fucking whatever. But I love that he's no, you're my guest forever and you can't leave. But you're my guest.
I made you drinks.
It's like when a kid is come play with me. Don't improvise. Here's the line I want you to say, and also hand me this object. And you're but I thought we were playing. No. I wrote a script, and you'll be adherent to it.
I don't find that relatable at all.
You never played with anyone as a child?
No, I just meant I was that person. Clearly.
All kids are like that, basically.
Yeah. It's worse for only children, which I assume Trelane is.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah. I love that his parents at the end are it's our fault. We indulge him so.
If you can't take better care of your pets, you're not going to get to make planets anymore.
I think that William Campbell, who, if you don't remember, he was in the last Treat Yourself episode because he was the head Klingon in the Trouble with Tribbles episode. And he was playing, and I think his Klingon name is Gothos. And he's, Klingon, blah, blah, blah. And this one is just him being well, hello. But I think that he's actually a really good actor because the childlike reveal, or like the fact that he's a child when it's revealed, is totally earned. Because throughout the whole episode, he has those petulant moments, and even Kirk and Spock and McCoy are like, he's acting like a kid, essentially. And it just gets worse and worse. And like, it's him like, oh, we're all on the same page. I'm a general, retired. Ha ha ha. We're all playing our role. And then as it disintegrates, he gets more petulant and more childlike. And he's like, oh, we're playing hide and seek. This is fun. And like, then when he gets reprimanded by his parents, he throws a great temper tantrum.
Such a good temper tantrum. That's like Stephanie McMahon level temper tantrum almost. Like, not as physical, but that like, I was winning. I would have won. I would have won. I would have won. Like,
you never let me have any fun. You said I could. You promised. And Kirk the whole time was like, oh, yeah, this makes sense. I did just slap this kid in the face.
Whatever.
You know what? Kirk has two skills and then like a third half skill, and it's just like, I'm just gonna slap this person in the face or punch them and see what happens. And mostly it works out pretty well for him. I mean, he randomly slaps a lot of people.
I mean, that's better than shooting them, I guess.
Yes. The Trelane like wanted Kirk to shoot him in that duel. He was like, it would be so interesting to be shot. I'm not gonna die. Shoot me. And Kirk was like, no, dum dum, I'm gonna shoot your mirror.
That was a great scene too, the duel, where he's like, I insist on taking the first shot. The shot is yours, Kirk. Eyes closed, head back, arms open. Like, Jesus Christ.
Kill me, please. I beg of you.
Such a good space bomb.
Yeah.
Just the best space bomb. I love when he said about Spock too, I don't like him. And Kirk was like, get off of my ship. Don't you ever fix your mouth to speak that way about Officer Spock again.
I do love that interaction where like Spock is just like deadpan talking, you know, like normal. And Trelane is like, is this fighting? Are you trying to start something with me? And he's like, no, I just like don't like you. I object to you. Bye. He's like, I mean, Spock's special skill is negging people into situations. So like,
he negged 2 computers to death.
Yeah. It is his special skill, and he was like, I got it. No, I'm not fighting with you. You are not worth it. Goodbye. Early series Spock, like, Spock is deadpan throughout. Obviously, he, like, learns how to feel, learns how to be a part of the crew and the found family or whatever. But early season Spock is that very, like, Vulcan, deadpan, nothing. And not even really, there's sassiness, but a lot of it's just like, no.
When is Ponfar? When does that happen?
It is it's episode 1 of season 2. Yeah, because they came back and they were like, they be fucking. I'm pretty sure Amok Time is, I'm like 99% sure. I'm gonna look it up.
Because that feels like a natural progression, too, to have this, like, stodgy, I don't feel emotion, keep everything absolutely down. And then you go through your, like, sex ceremony or whatever, and you're like, okay, maybe I can embrace it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, you did come down to the planet and save my life, and I don't have to marry that bitch to Pring, so, like, sure.
Sure, I can feel delight or whatever.
But only in your presence.
I'd be delighted.
I love that this is supposed to be like super far in advance of the future, and Kirk is like, you didn't dip anybody's curls into inkwells, and I was like, what the fuck Iowa nonsense is this? What the fuck? Though it would track for me and the headcanon of like Kirk, who loves like antiques and books, to be like, ooh, I got a quill for my birthday, look at me write funny things. But they're just shitty jokes.
That's what Mozart used to do, write shit jokes with his quill, and then he'd put them in people's pockets while they were at parties.
Is that serious?
Yes, I'm 100% serious.
I love that. Yeah, that's a Kirk. He definitely read that somewhere and was like, ooh, delightful. But he was like 12. That was like bad Kirk. Did you know that Spock was a child of 2 worlds?
Drink.
Oh, you're not human. Yes, well, my father was Vulcan. Stare.
I will not be saying any more about my parental heritage.
Ask if you dare. I also, you know what I love in this episode? Sulu. Sulu is like, he has a couple lines, but he is great background acting. Like, I'm glad that he was there. again, this is very early season 1, so they're like still testing out landing parties and groups or whatever. Like Lieutenant DeSalle, who I like, is like very generic 60s handsome, but is like truly like fucking so boring. And I'm glad that he like didn't stick around. I did like Jaeger, the like geophysicist. I thought he was actually quite interesting, but like, you know, how interesting is having a geologist just hanging around all the time? Like, no offense to anybody who's a geologist or whatever, but like, are you fun at parties?
Probably.
Actually,
yes.
probably.
Yeah.
They like get really drunk and be like, so the earth is crumbling. Do you want to know how?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so like they have this like interesting landing party or whatever. But I'm glad that Sulu is there because he has some really good catty like sidelines. Like when Kirk is introducing them all and he's like, oh, DeSalle, is that French? Blah, 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 French. And then he like, oh, good physician. And then he like Japanese bows to Sulu and Sulu goes, this ain't serious. So funny. And then it's like little German dance.
Yeah.
Very intense. And everybody's like, yeah, we just speak standard now. And can we go?
I like that it went back and forth so many times too. That it, like a lot of times when there's like a specialty set like his house, they just go to it once and they're either there for the rest of the episode or like they go back to the ship and then that we never see that set again. In theory, I like that there was the back and forth of this, that we got to see the outside on the planet, we got to see the house, we got to see the stoop of the house several times.
We got to see both outsides of the planet, like the really, really toxic part and then the like nice lush little pocket that he made nice for them.
Yeah, I liked that a lot. It felt unusual that they would go back and forth so many times.
And it really felt like they had to keep trying to escape and like, because they don't know anything about this creature, right? And they're like, oh, well, we got through the transports. Oh no, we're back. We destroyed your machine. Oh no, we're back.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the machine helped him, but he's still like this cosmic being or whatever.
Yeah.
He just needed the machine because he's just, you know, a baby.
He's a
still,
little guy.
He's just learning still.
Yeah, exactly.
The machine helps.
His parents were like, here's your replicator or whatever. It's just behind a mirror. Don't break it.
You'll learn how to do this without this someday, but this will. It's your magic training wheels.
Yeah, or like when you have those lined paper when you're a kid, and you're learning how to write. It's like you go inside the lines like this, and this keeps you in the format.
Yeah.
Adorable. I love it.
Yeah, so like obviously you don't really know that much about Q.
No,
You've just heard it because like he's like a big thing. It's been retconned in like books and other things, and it's just like a generally accepted thing that like Trelane was the first Q, or not first Q, but Trelane was the first Q in Trek, and they're of the same like universe or whatever. The big thing, other than the like matter manipulation thing, is that like trial scene. Mm-hmm. Q does that a fucking ton. Like he puts humanity on trial, and Picard is the face of humanity and stuff. And so like that, I imagine if you had seen Star Trek TOS and then you're watching this New Generations or Next Generation show and that pops up, your brain would go, oh, this is like a Trelane character type deal.
Yeah.
Though I did find a really funny anecdote about the wig. So William Campbell's first wig for that was a French hairpiece, and he demanded that it be an English barrister's wig instead because he felt like it fit the moment more. And Shatner was like, are we going to like waste production time finding this dude a new wig, and was being like kind of an asshole about it. And the director, Don McDougall, was like, I don't want this drama. So he brought in producer Gene Kuhn and said, you pick what fucking wig. And Gene Kuhn was like, actually, no, I think the English barrister wig does it better. But I love that the director was like, nope, I'm just going to call in the boss. We're not going to do this. Absolutely not. It's just a wig. And I think it was the right choice.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what a French hairpiece looks like.
Like a Mozart one with a ponytail? Probably?
I was going to say, I thought it was a powdered wig.
Yeah.
I thought it was, like a full-on.
Oh, yeah, the barrister's wig is way better.
Because it's a trial.
Yeah.
Like, it makes more sense.
Yeah, totally.
Also a fun, like, costuming fact. So Trelane's coat was the only costume piece not designed by William Werthies, which is the main costume designer. And that coat can be seen in a Gilligan's Island episode, Lovey's Secret Admirer, and a Monkeys episode, The Prince and the Pauper. So it's a good coat. It's really made its way around.
Yeah,
everybody. Pretty iconic coat.
That's hardy.
Yeah, I just really like William Campbell. I think he's just so iconic. Like, we never see this character again. But it's generally considered to be like one of the like iconic episodes. I think like Zach Hanlon of the AV Club, who we quote all the time for some reason, gave it like an A rating and said it's one of TOS's most iconic hours, and it makes a bunch of like top lists or whatever. And William Campbell he said this one quote where he said, "It was just a great role. It was sensational. I'll never forget it. It would be very easy for any actor who had any training to play the Squire of Gothos. The character was just so well written, and of course, it was just a good show." And I was like, "That was a lovely thing to say. Like,
That's
you're one
so
of these
nice.
iconic like moments and stuff." And he was just like, because sometimes. Like Sitting on the Edge of Forever, the woman who played that, she was like, yeah, I guess it's iconic. I just kind of did it because my kids wanted to, but like glad I was on the episode or whatever. And so it's nice, which is fine. Like that is a fine, like it's your job. You can just do your job. But it is nice sometimes, and especially with these iconic roles, to have people be like, no, that fucked. And it was great. And I'm glad that it's become a thing.
Yeah. Speaking of costumes too, I really loved that they kept the Yaomin in the dress when she came back and that they addressed it. And she was like, can I please change the fuck out of this?
Yeah, it was like a nice moment too, because like it could have, you know, we've had several moments like the Space Seed episode or Shore Leave where like the women were like, oh, but I want to fuck history or whatever. And she was just like, Captain, can I go change? And he was like, yeah, the ball's over. And she was like, great, I would like to be out of this fucking dress.
Yeah.
But also she got to keep it, so she could like, you know, you never know.
Prance around in her suite by herself.
Yeah, it's a dope ass costume. Might as well keep it.
Yeah, fair enough. She's like, I lost a uniform. Might as well keep this fucking dress. You know the Enterprise has a ball like once a year or some bullshit.
100%. Ridiculous costume party. They're all wasted, and then they have like a weird orgy, and they don't talk about it. It's like The Purge, but like an orgy.
We would also call that the purge.
They found out about Ponfar and we're like, can we do something like that?
It's Ponfar, the nightclub, or whatever that terrible quote is.
What?
Oh, it's like a throwaway line in a Voyager episode, I think. And somebody's like, oh, it's Ponfar night at the dance club. Just like, what?
So it's an orgy?
Yeah, it's also like a secret like ritual. How do we all know? Oh, those records leaked.
Yeah. The person reading them was like, well, this is too much. I'm sending this to my friends.
This can't be real, right?
I also liked that their energy too. It was like sort of flirty at the beginning, but then resolved in this like, I just want to go change out of this. And that didn't feel sexual at all. It was just like, okay, yeah, this is fine.
Yeah, there's definitely different vibes. Like Kirk truly flirts with everybody. Like you can tell when it's like pointed flirting. You can tell the difference between like Spock and McCoy flirting and sex magic flirting, and then just like general like Kirk is like, he's the guy that like loves to pat you on the back and be like, hey, how are you doing? Like he's just flirty guy. Obviously, like when they were trying to make the Yeoman Rand stuff, it like hit different and it was like not great and whatever. But yeah, with her, I always just get like, this is just the vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one line in this that was not great is the Nubian prize line when Uhura comes. I mean, I suppose it could have been way worse, because if this dude is like watching year 900 in the past, like could have been worse. Bobby's raising his hands.
I'll insert this tidbit here then. Hold on, let me scroll down to it.
Yay. Oh, a break-in by by the mission logs.
It actually was worse, but not on purpose. Campbell misread the line once and says, a Nubian slave.
No!
Oh, no.
And then Nichelle Nichols got up in his face and said, I'll kick you in the ankle.
She's like, get it right!
Wow. I do like it. It's not great. It's clearly not supposed to be good, though.
Right.
Like, in the moment, it's supposed to be like, what the fuck?
She, like, takes her hand back, and they all are like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And then he, like, quotes that line to Helen, to other girl, and, like, forces her to dance with him, and it's, like, very uncomfortable. And it is, you're right, meant to be not a good moment. And, it like, if he was watching, you know, the Earth 900 years in the past or whatever,
yeah,
it would have been much worse, but it also felt unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
The 60s.
The 60s.
But that's truly like the only like bad moment in the whole thing. And it's like very quick.
And again, it's supposed to be bad.
Right.
It's not supposed to be like, what a high compliment I've given you.
And then he did teach her how to play the harpsichord.
She was delighted by it.
She was like, I can't fucking play this. And he was like, now you can. And she was like,
Watch it,
you know what? This I love.
You can keep me down here for a little while. This is
Yeah.
fine.
She's very musical. She'd probably like it. I hope she retains that knowledge.
Yeah. She get to, the one get to retain the dress? I'm sure she remembers how to play the harpsichord.
Yeah, sure.
That's brain chemicals.
Yeah, matter manipulation. That's how learning works.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just fun. There's like not a lot to
Yeah.
say about it other than that it's like a silly, fun episode and it's ridiculous. To build on the Q thing, if anybody was interested in like how they followed up, there is a 1994 novel called, I think, Q Squared, where Trelane is a member of the Continuum and Q is his godfather, which makes a whole mess of sense. If your godfather was Q and he was like, you know what's fun? Fucking around. And it's like, I know that your mom and dad are buzzkills, but what if we put on some fun costumes and torture some people? But like in a fun way. That makes a lot of sense.
Uncle Q always lets me do whatever I want.
Like, you're not allowed to see your uncle anymore. Oh, actually, the last thing before we move on, which I think will make sense. So the writer for this, Paul Schneider, he said that he was inspired to write this episode by seeing children play war and like watching kids like be like, pew, 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 pew. And he was like, oh, this is weird that these kids are like making their toys kill each other. Let's make a whole Star Trek about it. And so this episode was originally intended to be an anti-war statement, but it's really just like a fun romp.
Yeah.
That's why there's so much stuff at the beginning where he's like, General Trelane, retired. Tell me about your wars. Let's
You can kill so many people with this.
Right. Oh, but we're all military men under the skin, aren't we?
I loved that line because, like, he's right.
Yeah. Or where, like, Kirk is like, no, we only fight when we have to. And he's like, yes, but that's what we all say, right? Right? War is good? No. And then Kirk's like, what if instead of hanging me, we fight with hands? And he's like, delighted.
This is what I needed.
Yeah. Yeah, this episode's fun and silly. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did. Absolutely. Are you ready for synopsis showdown?
Sure.
All right.
A super being of extraordinary power kidnaps the Enterprise to play with them because he's an only child and his parents don't pay enough attention to him.
Kirk and crew are kidnapped by a silly little Francophile who Kirk battles with the strange little boy and then is Dewey Moxina right by his parents.
Yeah, I did love that where Spock was like, because this is like one of the first super beings and godlike creatures that they meet. Spock's like, so how do we classify this? How do I write my report? And Kirk's like, God of War? And he's like, no, absolutely not. I'm not giving him that title. He doesn't deserve it. A little baby? And he's like, great.
A silly little boy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Petulant little boy. Goodbye.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Are you ready for Scully? It's me.
Yes.
Chronic morbid tumescence.
You don't mean what I think you
Swing.
Also not a quick summary. All right, here we go.
Buckle up. Pew, 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 pew.
Pew, pew. An apathetic employee at a storage facility is over it and is getting reamed by his boss for not being devoted enough to storage or whatever. He's instructed to go clean out this unit where he finds a woman rolled up in a rug. Weird, but I'm sure nothing to worry about. Anyway, when the boss comes back to yell at him, he wishes he would just shut the fuck up already, and suddenly his voice has a horrifying single piece of flesh where his mouth used to be. Next, we see this same boss after horrible reconstructive surgery to create a new mouth, sitting in the basement office of Mulder and Scully and explaining that something is obviously amiss and it's definitely that lazy-ass employee's fault. The agents go talk to Anson, the lazy employee, and discover an enormous boat in his front yard of his trailer, as well as Anson's paralyzed brother and the woman from the storage container sitting in the kitchen. The agents go do some actual detective work and search the container where Anson found the mysterious woman and find antiques and a photo of the previous owner with the woman they met at Anson's. It's revealed that the woman is a genie, and Anson, saying he wasted his first two wishes by wishing his boss would stop talking, and then for a boat he had no water for, is determined to make his final wish a good one. The genie tries very heavily to hint that he should wish for his brother to be able to walk again, but instead Anson wishes for the ability to turn invisible at will. However, he wasn't specific enough to include his clothing, so he strips down and is immediately fucking flattened by a truck when he tries to cross the road. Scully has to do an autopsy on the invisible body and is fucking delighted by it, having to cover the body in yellow powder to see it. Meanwhile, Mulder is looking into the history of the previous owner and discovers that he was extremely lucky for a brief period of time before dying from complications from a gigantic penis. Mulder also discovers photos of the genie from a variety of nefarious characters. Fuck you, Nixon. Mulder goes back to Anson's house and is immediately outsmarted by Leslie, Anson's brother, who has now taken possession of the genie. Scully is stoked to show a bunch of scientists the invisible body, finally, proof of the supernatural. But when she goes to show them her discovery, she discovers that he is gone. Turns out, he's gone because Leslie wished for Anson to be returned to life, but was not specific enough to say he should be returned in good health. Consequently, Anson is returned in a zombie-like, miserable state. Leslie then wishes for Anson to talk, which doesn't go particularly well. And he starts screaming as they start whispering about how cold he is. Like, terrifying Are You Afraid of the Dark episode where the child whispers, I'm cold, out in the yard. I don't know if you remember that one.
I do not.
It's terrifying. Anyway, Leslie is about to make the connection that he should wish for his legs to work again when Anson, trying to light the stove in order to warm up, blows their entire house up. The genie is returned to her original rug and Mulder finds her and is like, I'm taking that rug. She tells him that because he unrolled her, he now gets 3 wishes. He immediately commits planet-wide genocide by carelessly wishing for world peace. When he wishes to undo it, he hilariously reappears in front of Skinner. At least he has his clothes on, I guess. Mulder tries really hard to write out the most specific and perfect wish of all time, but right before wishing, Scully makes him realize he can't just wish and force people to do good against their will. So in the end, he frees the genie, who herself is the product of a wish gone awry, and we get a lovely scene of her enjoying her freedom in a cafe. In pink now! The end.
You are so hyper-fixated on the pink.
Well, she's wearing black and everything. That's part of her, like, genie garb, is that
Yeah.
she's only allowed to wear this one color, and so as a defiant, she's like, what's the most non-black color I can wear? Pink! What did you think of this episode?
I thought this episode was really fun. You said that this episode was written by the same guy that wrote Sunshine Days, right?
Yes, it's Vince Gilligan.
I
who
think it's
wrote a bunch of episodes, but those are the only 2 he directed,
Oh.
were this one and Sunshine Days.
okay. I just think it's really interesting that both those episodes have to deal with Scully trying to find proof.
Yes!
I think that's really interesting and being like foiled at the end.
Yes, I think that Vince Gilligan does a really good job of honing in on that part of Scully's personality, especially in season 7 and then season 9, where it's like, I've seen so much, and yet we have dust, basically,
Yeah.
to present as proof.
I've seen so much, and so I never get this proof that I can share with somebody that's not Mulder. Therefore, I feel that I'm kind of going insane at all times. Like that scene where he was like, you examine an invisible body. She was like, well, I thought I did. And he was like, oh my God,
Yes.
how are we doing this still?
It's like in season 11 when they're like, we're not sure if we can trust Skinner. And it's like, really? After all this time, you're still there? That's how it feels with Scully sometimes, where it's like, bitch, are you serious?
yeah. Like, why is this? Oh, you need therapy.
What more do you need?
Yeah. Truly, what more do you need?
Physical proof I can hand to the government. Hello.
That's what I was
done that.
Yeah, the guest acting was really good. The woman who plays the genie was excellent.
Yes.
So good. I particularly loved the reveal of her being like, oh, I wish myself into this hell.
Yes.
I thought I was being real clever. I got my magical turnip bag. And then I was like, no, I'm going to be powerful and live forever. Oh, I'm a fucking genie.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
And when Mulder was like, well, no, you're purposely like being a bitch. You're like purposely like misreading these wishes. It's like, A, that's sort of the whole thing. But B,
Right.
like she has no faith in humanity. She's been doing it for 5 years and she's pissed at herself. And so she's like, well, why would I give other people the shit they wanted when I fucking got like, I got dicked over too, which is like, you know, again, part of the thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad Mulder figured it out that you just got to release the genie. That's
Right?
like,
That's it.
you get a genie, you just got to release the genie.
Yeah.
That's the wish.
Yep.
It's a monkey's paw situation if you don't. Not good. You'll die from a giant dick.
So big they had to raise the doorways to get him in the hospital.
Insane.
Your face.
Insane. Yeah, well, if you think about it, you're like, oh, okay. And then you're like, wait a minute. Oh my God.
No wonder he died. All the blood went into his dick.
Yeah, you don't have enough blood for that. The guest actors were really good. The one that played Anson, whom to me is just from Alias, and then the other one who is the Mad TV comedian.
He's particularly good.
He's really
the guy
good.
who was Leslie. Yes, I liked him a lot. I love too that in this episode, both Anson and Leslie's disability is such a non-issue
Yeah.
that they literally don't even think of it as a problem. She's like, hi, there's this like really fucking obvious thing that both of you could wish for. And they're like, what? You mean like a fancy wheelchair? Or like, what? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, I love that they're both just like, yeah, this is just a thing about me. I wasn't disabled. I did something really fucking stupid.
But it was fun.
But it was super fun, and I have no regrets, and like truly has no regrets. They do not care at all. I love that. Every time I watch this episode, I feel like, especially for the early 2000s, it's like a really nuanced way to look at disability.
Right.
It's not just that they're like doofuses, which they are, but like they truly don't care. And I like that a lot. I think it's a very good detail.
Yeah, I agree. Because like, yeah, that definitely could have been a moment that goes, but
Yes.
like, I agree. Scully being so fucking delighted the whole time,
Oh
just
my God.
like freaking out and then covering it all in the yellow powder, gets it all over herself, and she's like, ha 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 ha, ah, I did it. And she was like, I can't leave the body alone. And he was like, you can have this. I'll let you have this. This is for you.
Right? He's like, when we find an alien, this is how I feel. It's okay.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it.
I'll do the detective work this time. You got it. Enjoy.
I'll pull up for you, Scully.
Enjoy.
She had to put yellow powder on that man's penis and balls. I just want to point that out.
She did miss a little bit of his ass, though.
No, a little bit at the top of his head so that he could see down to his ass, which means his ass was solid, which means she powdered it.
She's had to do worse things.
Absolutely. She didn't have to climb inside of his body like a giant elephant.
Yeah, that's 100% what I was thinking. I was like, it's really hard to top the elephant autopsy.
Yes.
A thing that a human doctor is not qualified to do.
Not at all.
Ever.
No, not at all.
Oh, yeah, that elephant was invisible, too, right?
Yeah.
Parallax.
Scully's best work, truly. Vince Gilligan originally wrote the character of Jen, the genie, with Janine Garofalo in mind, which I think would also have been great.
100% in the like rollout. I at first thought it was Janine Garofalo.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and then I was like slightly disappointed that it wasn't Janine Garofalo because like the woman who played the genie was great. Janine Garofalo would have fucking rolled at that part. I just said deadpan like,
I've been alive for 500 years. I used to be a French peasant. Fuck all of you.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. And like, again, the woman who plays her is fantastic, but you can like tell
this guy, yeah, Janine Garofalo energy.
Yes,
for sure.
absolutely. 100%. Chris Carter said that he thought the relationship between Mulder and the genie was, quote, very sweet, which
Yeah.
I agree. I like that it's antagonistic, but in like a really playful way and
It's
a very
like
pleasant
all
way.
of Mulder's positive relationships are antagonistic in a
I would just say all of his relationships, but some are positive, antagonistic, and some not so much.
Yeah, I do love that he was like, oh, no, I'm going to alter it, peace and earth. And then immediately he was like, fuck.
I love that his first instinct is, fuck, I fucked up, where's Scully? I need to find Scully. And then his second instinct is, I should really go check on Skinner.
Yeah. If anybody could survive this, it'd probably be him, right?
Right? I love the idea that he's just in Skinner's office and they're having a meeting and Mulder's not there, and then he's just there screaming, calling Skinner's chair a bitch.
And he's like, how did you get in here?
I love that line too. Skinner is just like, what the fuck? Is this my worst nightmare?
Is this what the X-File? Is this what you do every day?
Can you teleport now? Unacceptable.
I do not want to read that report. Please leave my office.
Just put it straight into the drawer. We don't need to talk about
I feel so bad for Skinner always having to like lead these meetings.
That's what an assistant director has to
Endless,
do.
just sitting there like
Endless fucking meetings about crime statistics.
these fucking guys. You know what? Mulder and Scully really spice up his life in more ways than one.
That's why he's so devoted to them for so
Yeah.
long. It's like the only interesting thing in my life. These
ever.
fucking idiots.
Yeah, they gotta keep him
I
alive.
must protect them with my life.
Yeah, I think this is one of the episodes. Like the last episode we watched was stupid fun and like was not maybe great written or whatever, but we had a good time. Whereas I think this one was really silly and fun, but also was like well written and had like a purpose.
Yeah. At the time, they thought that season 7 might be the end, because David Duchovny wanted to be done.
Because he was like, I hate this.
Yeah, he was like, I've become this character. I can just live this every day. But they thought that this might be the last season, and so if it had been, this is the second to last episode of season 7, it would have been the last Monster of the Week, which is what Sunshine Days is in the 9th season too. And so it's like both of these are such good encapsulations of like the fun side of the X-Files too,
Yeah.
that I like that once they knew it was actually ending, they were like, Vince Gilligan, you're our guy. This is what we need to do. And I think it's a fucking great decision.
Yeah, they're both really good episodes.
Yeah, they are. They're very good. And well, we said this before too, but they both have Scully like figuring out and having this proof, but she has two very different partners while both of them are happening too. And then like Mulder leading her into this and her like raw excitement about it in this one, like set up against Doggett, where he's the more skeptical one too. I just really like that. I think that it's great. I love that they gave this to Vince Gilligan. I think it was the right decision.
Agreed.
It should have been Darren Morgan, but he was gone, so I guess I'll accept this.
It's good to have a backup.
Yes, exactly. For the scene where he's just like running around in the city, they just shut down 8 blocks of Los Angeles, which is like basically fucking impossible to do and costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
They had to do it on a Sunday morning, and one homeless man wandered right into the shot, and so they had to digitally remove him. They were like, "Listen, we can't be reshooting all this shit."
Yeah,
but it's effective. And one of the only other times that they've done that is for La La Land. They shut down the 6 lanes of the expressway because again, it's very fucking expensive to shut down Los Angeles.
Yeah,
like, any part of it. So I like that, and I think that scene is effective, and that is like a good use of their resources to have done that.
The classic like Rapture thing, like here's a baby carriage that's empty and some groceries on the floor and the cars that are abandoned.
Yeah, it's a good visual. I like it a lot. In another episode of The X-Files, Aubrey, which I don't think that we're going to watch, Mulder talks about having had nightmares as a kid where he wakes up and he's the only person left on the planet.
Oh,
and so
that's
it's like yeah.
Specific hell.
Right, exactly. It's like, oh, this is literally my worst nightmare. You horrible bitch. Generally, there's very positive reviews of this episode. One of the reviews, quote, "The genius of Je Suis lies in how it embraces the inherent weirdness of the world that the show is set in," which I think is a great way to describe this. Like, it really takes the parameters of the supernatural that's acceptable in this universe and like pushes up against them, which I like a lot.
Yeah.
Someone called it an I Dream of Jeannie rehash, and like they literally make that joke in the episode, and it's like
boink,
boink, and they sing the I Dream of Jeannie theme, and then he goes, "But anyway, she never murdered anybody."
Yeah, that was a
good line. I liked that a lot. I love Mulder's interaction with Anson and Leslie, where he's just like so antagonistic. Like, nah, we're not fucking doing this shit.
I also love that. Because this is season 7 when Leslie gives him like the fake like genie thing. I feel like season 1 Mulder, it would have taken a longer time for him to realize like this is not a genie thing. This is right. Like where Mulder got it and immediately was like, okay, I'll leave.
Yeah. But I like too that he was like pleasant about it. He wasn't like frustrated or like, God, they're trying to keep me from that truth. He was just like, yeah, they gave me their weed box. Anyway, here's some photos of her with Mussolini.
I know that I'm right. He, again, big, I know what you are.
Yes.
Oh, I think you're a genie or
a Janaya.
And he was like, huh? And she was like, oh, God. I mean, you're right, but also like.
This fucking guy. I also love how antagonistic Scully is of her. Like, could you give us some time alone? Fucking today, please. Oh, Scott. Okay. Really don't like this lady.
But also, where the fuck did she go?
Yeah. You're giving this woman attention and I'm uncomfortable with it.
Maybe she's like, so you're gonna arrest me? And Scully's like, I don't see how we could.
I would love to, but unfortunately cannot. Also, originally, this is like my last piece of Apocrypha. Originally, the script is supposed to be like stark and scary as a story.
Boo.
And Vince Gilligan was like, oh, no. We're doing funny and a genie.
Yeah.
Right decision.
I mean, you can make Jin stuff like super scary, but like, I think even in the like funny episode, the genie and the wish and stuff, like it is scary, right? Yeah. You think you have this magical thing and it almost always like backfires on you. So even when you're not doing it in a scary supernatural way where like the djinn drink your blood or whatever, it is still effective in its scariness.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you ready for Synopsis Showdown?
I sure am, pal.
Let's do it. A genie is discovered and Mulder instantly uses her to commit planet-wide genocide.
A real dumb idiot finds a genie and dies because he's a real dumb idiot. Shockingly, I'm not talking about Mulder this time. You ready for a Deep Throat's mission, love?
Yeah.
How do we describe him? Pure mentality, force of intellect, embodied energy, super being? He must be classified, sir.
God of War, Mr. Spock.
Well, I hardly find that fitting.
Then a small boy, and a very naughty one at that.
Okay, starting with Squire of Gothos. Directed by Don McDougal, who also directed some episodes of Rawhide, Mannix, Bonanza, The Virginian, Fall Guy, and Dukes of Hazzard. was written by Paul Schneider, who we talked about for writing Balance of Terror. A note on those respiratory devices that you mentioned earlier. This note is specifically from October 27th, 1966, from the desk of Robert H. Justman to Gene Kuhn, and stated in part, if we transport McCoy, Yeager, and DeSalle down to the surface of Gothos in the orange spacesuits that we used in The Naked Time, the audience will take a full half hour to stop laughing from what our people look like.
Well, in The Naked Time, they had to because of, like, the contamination.
So then they toned it down.
And then they were like, we're going to not do this anymore.
Actually, turns out this air is breathable. Lose it.
We're good. We're good here. We're good here. You're good here. We're good here.
M-class planet, M-class planet, M-class planet.
All planets, M-class, all life forms, bipedal. So
Not the rug.
Stell mentioned earlier this being kind of a lore backdoor to the Q continuum and basically the whole mythos overarchingly of Star Trek The Next Generation. However, it is also perhaps the source of the holodeck as well.
He did write that in my notes.
I just wanted to say it because it was all out and it was important and it's really cool.
Thank you.
So yeah, his whole matter reconstruction thing and the fact that they shoot the mirror and it is clearly just a machine, we later see that replicated almost directly in the holodecks of anything from TNG onward.
So on the holodeck, is stuff actually created in there, or is it an illusion? Is it like virtual reality?
So
or
it's not holograms.
Okay.
Holograms. Like, you can touch things, feel things.
The
experience.
beginning of that one movie, they're like on the boat or whatever, and someone gets thrown in the water.
It's the best.
Data
Shut up,
pushes
I love
Beverly in the water and is like, ha ha ha, and Bev's like, not funny when it's me.
It's great. Yes, and there are so many stories of holodecks gone wrong where things actually become dangerous and deadly.
Okay.
And
Like
then
Moriarty.
and then they fucking manifest Moriarty and he escapes the holodeck.
Because he solves it, because he's Moriarty.
It's dope. It's dope. It's great. I love it. But anyways, lore-wise, whether that was the purpose or it's just a backdoor fan thing, this is one of the sources of that as well.
It does make sense.
Yeah. Digging now into Trelane's hilarious trophy cases. Seen in this, shot with a phaser and disappeared, is the bird creature from The Cage. The alien dog with the horn on his head is a trophy on his wall. I love it.
There's also the salt vampire.
Yes, there's the salt vampire.
Just for Plum.
So getting into some casting for this, which actually isn't a lot. As Teresa, that is Vanita Wolf. Other than this, she only had a short stint on TV series from 66 to 69, with guest appearances on The Flying Nun, The Monkees, Gunsmoke, and The Beverly Hillbillies. She was a winner of various beauty contests around Orange, California, and was Miss Orange County, and in 1967 appeared on the cover of Playboy, so, like, was attractive.
Yeah, she was good looking.
That's Michael Barrier as DeSalle, who we discussed earlier, specifically when we were talking about Catspaw, because he was featured as a crew member there as well
Also
during
boring.
the early shakeup. Yeah.
This is a boring guy.
You are anti-DeSalle.
I like Riley, and I hate DeSalle. These are the other checkups.
This is his first appearance. That one is the second. Interestingly enough, he serves as a biologist and then a chief engineer as well. But, like, there's some crew fluidity, usually. That's not
it's like the
unheard of.
episode of Lower Decks where he's like, I want to try something else. And they're like, come on, baby bear.
And then that's Richard Carlisle as Yeager, our biologist. Starting in 1950, he has extensive TV and TV movie credits and continued working all the way up until, like, 1994. His return roles on Crime Photographer, The Untouchable, and notable film roles in Harper and One Step Beyond, and did decades of stage theater in West LA as well.
Yeah, I actually quite liked him. I wish that he was around a little bit more.
He only got this one role on the show, which is really interesting.
They were like, we don't need a geologist. We got Spock. He does everything.
There's a catch-all there. We just scan the rocks.
Science, you know.
And then really notable other than that is just William Campbell. Of course, we talked about him as Koloth in The Trouble of Tribbles, which is a role he gets to reprise in DS9, now
but with
genetically
ridges.
corrected.
He looks dope with the ridges, too, actually.
Yeah.
I'll show you a picture of it, because it's like, oh, is that William Campbell? Oh, yeah, he looks dope as shit.
So he actually had to come in and audition and read for this role. However, he only got a few paragraphs in before casting was like, go straight to wardrobe.
100%.
Just got waved in as perfection.
He read that script and was like, I'll audition.
So that's
I'll audition you straight to hell.
him in Trouble Tribbles,
Okay,
right?
yes, I
And
remember
then
him.
That's him full Klingon'd out.
Whoa.
Looks
That
great.
looks great.
Yeah, and it's Deep Space Nine, so it's the 90s, so it's like much older, but he comes and he's like, oh, I'm still fucking important as shit.
Yeah.
And carries that gravitas really, really well
Yeah.
underneath all the makeup. All those old Klingon guys did. So according to Campbell talks about this episode a lot. Estelle said he loved playing this character.
Yeah,
It had
because
so
it
much fun.
fucking rules.
The role he was born to play.
Yeah, for real.
So according to him, which I would just take it, you know, on truth then, in that fight with Shatner in the forest, he actually falls and dislocates his shoulder, and then right afterwards flings his arm up and pops it back in. But because of the fallout from that injury, they lose a day of shooting. So this was a 7-day shoot.
Yeah, well, that's...
Still badass, though.
It's
Yeah,
still
it's
super
badass.
badass to like keep going after that. Yeah, no, he's like the range between Koloth and this is unbelievable. He was 100% the perfect guy for this part.
Yeah.
It's so
Get
good.
your ass to wardrobe.
Moving on to French words. This is written by Vince. This is written by Vince Gilligan. This was directed by Vince Gilligan.
Yep.
As Erin said, this is his first full-on directing. After finalizing the script, Gilligan said he'd worried he'd painted himself into a corner. I did not intend to write a hard episode to direct, but before I realized it, I was blowing up a trailer, having a truck hit an invisible man,
Really
all
blowing
sorts of
up a
Gino
trailer.
effect. I looked-
Unnecessary. I'm sorry. We didn't
No,
talk
it's
about that was fucking crazy.
They blew the fuck
They
up out
had
of
the
that trailer.
gas on for a second. And
Yeah, but the genie was like, I'm done.
I'll give you legs and then I'm going to blow this shit up.
So I looked at all these people, continuing Miss Claude, I looked at all the people on the set and thought, oh man, I'm going to be exposed as an imposter. Luckily, the cast and crew helped the new director ease into his position. However, he did report that the stress from this gave him near continual diarrhea leading up to the shot.
Yeah, I really wish I had a genie so I didn't shit my pants.
So, as Erin said, this might have been the second to last episode of The X-Files ever. However, The X-Files changes a lot going forward from here. So, this is the last official standalone Mulder and Scully episode until season 10.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then a small note for people who enjoyed that really, really lovely scene at the ending. The beer they're drinking is Shinerbach. It's a very good beer.
Oh.
However, at the time of filming it, it would have only been available in Texas, even though now it's like nationwide. So like Scully brought over the good shit for that.
Yeah.
It was
was like-
important.
We also didn't talk about that. I love that scene of them like, we watch movies together now. We're like a couple and we hang out. And I also love that he's like, yeah, we watch boy movies at my house and we watch girl movies at your house.
So
She's
many
like,
of those fucks.
you're not allowed to come to my house.
That's why we're here.
So we'll move on
What
to
do they watch at Skinner's house?
They just fuck.
Training programs.
World War II documentaries.
Skinner puts on an album with the intention of having everyone sit and listen to it.
And then they
However,
just fuck.
they just fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mulder's like, I can sit through 4 seconds of one song, and then I'm going to take my pants
You want your
off.
dick sucked?
That's what happens every time.
Yeah.
He's
Scully
like,
and Skinner are like, man, we wanted to eat the potato dish. Can you hold on for like 5 minutes? And Mulder's like, my dick's already out.
also, I'll eat this potato dish.
Scully takes a bathroom break, puts the potato dish back in the refrigerator, gets everyone water, comes back. You got to be able to tag out during threesomes is all
yeah.
I'm saying.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
There's
It's
no
very
way you
important.
could just do it all 3 all the time.
Yeah,
That's
no.
crazy.
Mulder's there the whole time, though.
Mulder's like, I need to be careful for it
Skinner-
the whole
I
time.
mean, it's hard to
Skinner and
stand up
Scully.
when you're tied to the
Yeah.
bed.
Skinner and Scully tag out.
Yeah. Moving on to some casting stuff for this. There's a bicycle rider in this named Jeff Kahn. He was assistant editor on 147 episodes of The X-Files and
Jesus.
many, many other things. The morgue attendant is Brett Bell, whom we've actually discussed earlier.
The one that's like, can we leave now?
We've actually discussed him earlier because that's David Duchovny's body double in a lot of X-Files episodes and also does mocap for David Duchovny in the Resistor Serve video game.
I just really, he brings in the like invisible body and it's like, can I leave? And never, ever think about this ever again, please. And she's like, yeah, please leave. This is for me.
As annoying golf cart boss, that's Paul Hayes as Jay Gilmore. He actually does an episode of Enterprise called Carbon Creek where he plays a businessman.
Okay, his cadence is so specific that my brain was like really pinging, and I was like, what the fuck? Okay, that makes sense.
TV guest actor on shows like Coach Step by Step, Bob on Andy Richter Controls the Universe, Buffy, Third Rock, 6 Feet Under, A Doctor in Black Dynamite, and also on the show The Money Shot. That's Kevin Weissman as Anson Stokes, as Stella mentioned,
Alias.
of course, from Alias. Also known,
J.J. Abrams.
also known more recently as Dale Yorks on the Marvel Runaways show.
Oh yeah, he's the girl with the dinosaur's dad.
Yep.
You know, I'm very good at comics.
Also did 3 episodes as
Molly.
Drag on Buffy and Felicity and a lot more. A really, really cool character actor, sci-fi, fantasy, early 2000s career.
It was fun to watch him play somebody. He's always cast as like super smart nerd tech guy, so it was fun to watch him play like a dumb dirtbag.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm sure it's freeing in a lot of ways.
He doesn't have to be like, techno babble garbage, here's my computer.
So whatever they were using for that forensics, that bright yellow thing, he was apparently extremely allergic to.
No.
So for that first CGI shot, that is really him in a blue hood, and they just chroma keyed it out later. But when they started sprinkling on his body, he had an intense allergic reaction. So they had to use something else than what they started with to kind of fix that. He also does a lot of celebrity golf and poker tournaments for charities, including the Special Olympics, various Jewish funds and charities, and the DMD Fund. So, also good dude, probably. As Leslie Stokes, that is, of course, Will Sasso, of course, most known for one of the longest-standing cast members on Mad TV, and several TikToks where he shoots lemons out of his mouth.
Okay.
That was big on Vine, too. Yeah, he had, a really, really prominent Vine account.
With lemon mouth?
He just, it's like a gag where he'll be talking or whatever, and then he'll make a gagging noise whoa, and then a lemon will shoot out of his mouth.
Well, that sounds hilarious.
He did it a bunch on Vine, and I think he's done it on TikTok too. Yeah. Earlier on his career, he played recurring character Gomez Calhoun on Sliders. He's also, I think, at least a couple of times, but definitely once, impersonated Stone Cold Steve Austin with Stone Cold Steve Austin on episodes of SmackDown.
Oh my god, that's that guy?
That's Will Sasso.
That's the guy who was on, oh my god, why am I blanking on his name? Piper.
Roddy Piper?
Yes, he was on his podcast and he pretended to be Stone Cold Steve Austin and he made some comment about Stone Cold's dog. And Stone Cold got so mad that he had Piper fired from the network that they both worked for, the podcast network. And Piper recorded this horrifying rant about, fuck you, Stone Cold. I can't believe what you did, blah, blah, blah. And then died 2 days later. It was fucking wild. I listened to both of their podcasts while that was happening. I had no idea that was the same dude. Yeah, his Stone Cold is very good. It was too convincing. That's what Stone Cold said. He was like, you're doing an impersonation of me that people think...
But they can't see you.
Right. He's like, people think it's me. And so I'm getting these comments about how I said these horrifying things about my dog. You cannot fucking do this. And so the network that they worked for fired Piper over it. Wild. That's just a thing I happen to know.
He was also Carl on Less Than Perfect, Al on Justified, and he was in that less than successful Three Stooges reboot movie. He was Curly in it as well. However, that just got announced as having a sequel, so apparently they're gonna try again.
All right.
Who are the
psychic?
Other Stooges?
I forget their names. It's one of the guys from Will and Grace who played Mo.
Like the guy who played Will on Will and Grace?
No, the other one, his friend.
Oh, Jack?
Yeah.
Is Mo?
Yeah. And
Curly, sorry, he's Curly.
Oh, it's a little better, I guess.
Will Sasso is Larry.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I forget who's Mo, but he's Curly.
Chris Diamantopoulos.
Just a guy who could play Mo. It's a guy who looks like and could play Mo.
Apparently Benicio del Toro and Hank Azaria were in consideration for the role of Mo, but then it went to Chris Diamantopoulos. And then Sean Penn apparently was set to play Larry Fine, but dropped out to concentrate on his, quote, charitable efforts in Haiti. And then Sean Hayes got chosen to play Larry. And then Jim Carrey was supposed to play Curly, and gained 40 pounds for the role, but ultimately dropped out because he did not want to endanger his health to gain even more weight. So then they were like, I guess we'll just give it to Will Sasso. Johnny Knoxville, Andy Samberg, and Shane Jacobson were also on the short list to play Mo. Anyways, more. I've never seen a single episode of The Three Stooges.
I don't think you need to. I don't think there's anything you couldn't glean from Three Stooges that you could from a really good old school Warner Brothers cartoon.
Yeah, you like fall down and
It's the same pattern, same level of violence, all of that stuff. Yeah.
Everything comes back to Jabberjaw.
That was 2 solid tangents from both of you. I love it. So that's Paula Sorge as Jenny, Janaya, whatever.
The Lady Genie.
The Lady Genie. Do.
Spoink.
Before this has guest roles on the Jeff Foxworthy Show and Malcolm in the Middle.
Remember that show?
Malcolm in the Middle?
No, the Jeff Foxworthy Show.
No, because I never watched it.
No, me neither, but I just know that, it exists.
After this, a few episodes of Weeds and a show called The Gamer's Guide to Pretty Much Everything, and then doesn't have any listings after 2015, doesn't have a social media presence, doesn't have any accounts of anything I can find. Good job.
Awesome.
I hope you're doing well.
Ghost.
You're rocking this. There is a review from Paula Vitaris of Cinema Fantastic. That's the name of it.
Fantastique.
Of
We're
Cinfantastique. Where she specifically mentions that Sorge was one of the best guest actors of the season with snap, bite, and wonderful dark humor. She is great and memorable in this.
When she's like, I got this prison tattoo.
Yes!
It's my genie prison tattoo.
I like Janine Garofalo in like specific things. I think Paula has a certain softness and earnestness in this that Garofalo might not have been able to
have
bring
you
out.
never seen the romantic comedy where Janine Garofalo goes to Ireland to discover her roots, and it's really actually cute, and she can do soft. Anyways, I don't remember what it's called, but it is a weird. I think it's called Luck of the Irish or Kiss Me, I'm Irish.
Luck of the Irish was a Disney Channel
movie?
original movie. That's definitely not what it's
This is
called.
now the third tangent. This is now the third tangent.
Follow
We've gone
Irish.
to the third tangent territory.
It's called The Matchmaker.
Luck of the Irish.
Janine Garofalo and James Ryland, and it's maybe not good, but I enjoyed it.
Coming soon to the NYD Discord, we're just going to start having movie nights of the weird shit that we bring up on this podcast.
Jesus Christ.
Well, it starts with a full series watch of My Mother the Car.
And then Millennia.
Millennium's got to be just for us.
Trade back to back.
Yeah.
One episode of My Mother the Car, one episode of Millennium.
That's the next podcast after we finish Extract season.
Doesn't Millennium have like a really like central car? That's like his specific car.
Yeah, we talked about it last episode. Yeah.
So maybe it's just the same. Maybe his mom's in the car.
And then I set up a Plex server that just shows all Tech War media on rotation that you can tune into at any time.
Tech War gonna be an adult cartoon that they're making, and
I mean, it's gonna have to
cannot wait
be
for Jake Cardigan.
It's gonna have to be a very adult cartoon. That's a lot of drugs.
Tech cop. No, he went to jail because he was a cop and tech is bad. Anyways, whatever.
Anyways. So Paula, if you're out there, if these podcast episodes that mention you like ping you somehow, hope you're doing good.
Yeah.
Great job.
You're delightful.
That being said, if I had 3 wishes, I'd wish for a lovely sandwich,
That's how you choke.
a certain beer from England that I might never get to drink because it was in like limited quantity. I don't know if they're brewing it anymore, but it was called Tactical Nuclear Penguin. And my 3rd wish was to never have diarrhea again for the rest of my life.
I can only think of the 2. Oh, I got 3. I want to know what that fucking Grand Michel banana tastes like. That's always number 1 wish. 2nd wish is no matter anywhere I sit down, I am comfortable because I like to read and sit in weird positions that I'm like, my bones, but I really just want to sit here. So anytime I sit down, it's comfortable, no matter what position. Forever. My bones love sitting. And then the 3rd one is that they greenlight the follow-up to Batman and Robin where Coolio was supposed to be the Scarecrow.
You tweeted that earlier last week.
Yeah. No, but those are the wishes. The sitting one, the banana, and I want the sequel to, I want a 5th installment. They were going to bring Harley Quinn as the Joker's daughter. Alicia Silverstone was going to have a lot more to do as Batgirl. It would have been great. 45-year-old Dick Grayson would still be there. We deserve it. Those are my wishes. I can see no fallout from any of them.
Coolio just died recently.
I know.
Okay, we might have another screaming zombie situation on
Oh,
our
okay,
hands.
but this is like time
Time
like,
travel.
This already
sure.
happened.
This
Time
would've-
travel, which never goes wrong.
No, but there wouldn't be time travel. It was just this would have existed. Like, this
Okay.
exists in the canon. And then I get to watch it.
It was a thing that already happened. I
Yeah.
see.
Everybody loved Batman and Robin, and we got to get the much deserved sequel.
I would wish for 4 packs of original clove cigarettes.
Of course you would.
Of fucking course I would. They're impossible to find now.
You gonna throw in an original Four Loko while you're at it?
No, I don't want to die.
I don't want to die quickly.
Yeah. I don't want a lifetime supply of clove cigarettes. Only 4 packs. Then it has to be done. That's the end. And then I would wish for $13 million, taxes already paid for, accessible to me in the currency of whatever country I'm in.
That's only 2.
That's 2. And then I honestly, I think I probably would free the genie. I think that would be my 3rd one.
Oh yeah, I forgot we have to free the genie.
Well, so if the genie wants to be free, yes, I free it. However, I'm not just going to take their power away if they're kind of cool with it and having a good
Okay,
time.
then I just do the banana and the sitting.
Fair. And those are good choices.
And then I would let
I've had notions of like, oh, what if I wish to like free my body, like heal my body or whatever, but then you end up with like a weird baby dick or something like that.
right.
Like,
Or it's like a face of bow situation where you like live forever, but your body like still ages.
Right.
Like you have to
yeah, you're like decrepit.
right. So I think the banana and the sitting is good for me.
Yeah. Want something very simple, easy.
And now I wish for this section to be over.
Yay!
Bye.
We can grant that.
I don't know if you noticed, but I never made the world a happier place.
Well, I'm fairly happy. That's something.
All right. Overall thoughts. Even though this was a random theme where we got to pick random episodes that shouldn't tie together, they shockingly do.
Yes.
The like power to create, manipulate matter. So like, you know, the Q power is essentially like a genie power. They're like alien genies in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
So that works. I feel like there's another one that I was like, yeah, this is a parallel, but that's the big one.
Yeah, and like the realization that you're interacting with a powerful being that does not have your best interest at heart.
Yeah.
And like how you have to navigate that. Totally different ways. One is malicious and aggressive, and the other is passive and aggressive.
Yeah. Passive aggression is
dangerous.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of childish.
yeah. So yeah, they like weirdly fit together. Look at us. Good at
Yes.
podcasting.
Good on us. Podcasting.
So, fan questionnaire. As a fan, how would you say this episode holds up compared to the other?
Fucking fantastic. Delightful.
You love this episode.
Absolutely in my top 5, probably.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing. I loved it. I loved it so much.
You love a space fob.
I love a space fob. I love Kirk gets to best somebody. I love Kirk slapping somebody in the face with a glove. I love it. I thought it was fantastic. I love
McCoy being like, this booze ain't booze.
this booze ain't booze. I got this cipher in my hand. This is bullshit. I love that. I love Kirk longingly looking at Spock for like too long. I just loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It held up so well. How would you say this X-Files episode holds up?
I think it's great. I think it, like I said, it does. While we both enjoyed first person shooter, this does the thing that the best X-Files episodes, in my opinion, do, where it's still fun and irreverent and silly, but it does have good character beats for both of them. Great.
Yes.
And for Skinner, too. We see him for a second, but like great character beats for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a moral and a purpose, and like they come out of the situation, not necessarily like changed, but like with a expanded worldview or whatever. And I think, and then you have the like nice moment at the end, and had this been the like second to last episode, it would have made sense and it was good. So like, yeah, it's an excellent episode.
Yeah, absolutely. I
And
agree.
good guest stars. Like a lot of the best X-Files episodes have really good guest stars.
Absolutely.
What was the most Star Trek moment of the episode?
Probably Kirk slapping him across the face. That's just like such a good encapsulation of Kirk fighting an enemy. Where he's like, I can't sex magic you to death, and you're not a computer, so I can't talk you to death, but I will like 14th century duel you. Let's fucking go, motherfucker. Like, I love that. I love his like realization that I can beat this guy. I just have to figure out how.
But like a slap too is like part of a mind game, right? Like that's like classic like dual thing. So like, yeah, that's very Kirk. Like, fuck around and find out.
Yes, exactly. That's it. I love that this episode has such hard fuck around and find out energy, which is like the best Trek. The best Trek has very hard fuck around and find out energy.
For me, it's obviously the moment where he's like, you saw an invisible body. She goes, I think I saw an invisible body. And he's like, ah! That is the encapsulation of the entire series.
That's their relationship. Series. Yes, absolutely.
That's the whole series. Who you shipping?
Spurk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like a crazy shippy episode, but there's a couple longing looks.
Well, yeah.
And it's mostly Kirk being like, you're great.
You're so wonderful.
I'm having a bad day, but like, I'm happy you're here.
You're so wonderful. And of course, when Trelane is like, I don't like him. He's like, get off my ship. Never look at him again. So good.
I mean, yeah, I guess I like it is, but it's that like relaxed shipping of like they've been in this relationship for a long time. I love their like quiet night at home love.
Yes. They seem like a couple who's like, oh, we never do like an at-home date night. Let's do that. They're like, yeah, this is actually really nice. Why don't we do this more? Oh, because we're very busy all the time.
Yes. I'm moderately happy. Is this episode a fuck fight or a fuck?
This is a fuck. This is absolutely fucks. This episode rules.
Can you think of an episode you like more than this episode?
I really like Trouble with Triples.
Yeah, because it's big fuck around and find out.
Absolutely. I really like I Mud. Also big fuck around and find out energy. I think those might be my like favorite episodes.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. I really like the Salt Monster one, but that one's also fucking weird and like bizarre. I think that one stands outside too. Part of that is because that monster is so good.
Sucking them salts.
Them salts.
Yeah, this episode's a fuck for sure.
Yeah.
They're just both fucks.
Yeah.
This is a treat yourself episode. It'd be fucking weird if they were like flops or fines.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna treat myself and we're gonna watch a prison episode of The X-Files.
Yeah, absolutely not.
That's it. You can find us on the internet. You can follow us at NYD Productions on Twitter and interact with the show using the hashtag XTransPod. You know, if Twitter still exists when this come out. You can find me at NYD Urgency on Instagram.
You can find me on Twitter at Stella_Cheeks.
You can find me if you can.
You can also email us at xtraxpod@gmail.com with questions or comments. Hey, it's a Treat Yourself episode. Send me what you want. I can probably find it. Unless it's like a really, really hyper-specific. These two just have like a weird YouTube channel and nobody watches it except for Erin. I tried. I couldn't find it.
Not nobody watches it. It's very popular.
Well, nobody wants to watch them kiss except for you.
Well, everyone's wrong. They have excellent little guy energy. I just want them to kiss.
Well,
anyway.
Yeah, just email me what you want if you want something. I have a lot of spreadsheets.
It took me several years to stump Stella.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the first time you've ever been stumped. You couldn't find me exactly what I wanted with BSG fic, but also I have like a weird...
Yeah, you fetishize the straights.
They're both bisexual. Come on. Let's get real.
Everyone's sexuality's got to get a little bit loose on the Galactica.
Yeah,
there is
real.
A small population to run through.
It's only a couple thousand of us. Might as well fuck.
No, I just negated several segues that I was going to try to pull. And if you are interested in things that have obviously been cut from this episode, our watch-along notes, access to our company Discord, where we do things like book clubs and discussions and fic recommendations and all of that stuff, you could look at our Patreon at patreon.com/NYD Productions to get access to all of that and more for at least $1.
And don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and to tell your friends. We find this nerdy shit is better when it's shared.
We'll see you next episode for Shitty Exes. In the meantime,
believe boldly.
Seek truth.
Ship proudly.
X-Trex is created and written by Stella Cheeks, Erin Cline, and Bobby Hoffman, and produced by Bobby Hoffman for NYD Productions. Our show theme is Alien Spy by Ionix, and our show art was made by Jonathan Curtis.